AITA for refusing to pay for my niece's wedding after promising to cover it? I'm close to my sister and her daughter Lily and have supported them financially over the years. When Lily got engaged, I offered to help with wedding costs but never intended to cover everything. I offered a substantial amount to help with wedding costs, but they expected me to cover the entire expense and were upset when I set my limit. They excluded me from planning and proceeded with extravagant arrangements, believing I would eventually give in. Now, they blame me for ruining the wedding and losing deposits, accusing me of manipulation. So, I'm a 35-year-old guy, and I've always been close with my older sister, Emily, 38F, and her daughter, Lily, 22F. Emily had Lily when she was young, 16, and since she was a single mom for most of it, I've always tried to help out where I could. Over the years, I've paid for Lily's summer camps, her college application, and even her first car. I did this because I love them both and always wanted to support them. A year ago, Lily got engaged to her long-term boyfriend. When they announced the engagement at a family dinner, I said I'd be happy to help with wedding expenses. I never said I'd pay for everything, but apparently my offer was interpreted as me footing the bill for the whole wedding. It became clear when Lily and Emily started planning a big, extravagant affair, destination wedding, 200+ guests, you name it. I sat them down and said I'd contribute $15,000, which I thought was a pretty generous amount, but they both seemed really upset. Lily said I promised to pay for the wedding, and Emily backed her up, saying I always supported and this was the least I could do. Apparently, they were expecting I'd cover a $50,000 plus wedding. I told them that wasn't happening. $15,000 was all I could give. Now, here's where things get worse. Lily and Emily stopped including me in the wedding planning entirely. I didn't hear much from them for a while, and it turns out they booked everything for the wedding, thinking I'd eventually cave and cover it. Now they're in over their heads, and the wedding is just 3 months away. Emily called me, crying, saying they were going to lose deposits and that I ruined the wedding by not coming through. Lily isn't speaking to me. Here's the kicker. Emily and Lily are now saying I'm being manipulative, offering to help and then taking it away at the last second, making them look bad in front of the groom's family. They claimed they never would have planned something so extravagant if I hadn't promised to cover it all, but I never said that. I said I'd help. I feel like I've done more than enough over the years, but now I'm being treated like the villain for not paying for this giant wedding. AITA? Relevant comments. Commenter. When they announced the engagement at a family dinner, I said I'd be happy to help with wedding expenses. I never said I'd pay for everything, but apparently my offer was interpreted as me footing the bill for the whole wedding. They heard what they wanted to hear. I didn't hear much from them for a while, and it turns out they booked everything for the wedding, thinking I'd eventually cave and cover it. They then continue planning huge wedding, even though you told them you weren't paying for everything. Now they're in over their heads, and the wedding is just 3 months away. Not your fault. They made those choices, not you. Emily and Lily are now saying I'm being manipulative, offering to help and then taking it away at the last second, making them look bad in front of the groom's family. Not your problem. Now I'm being treated like the villain for not paying for this giant wedding. That sucks, but you did nothing wrong. NTA commenter. Manipulative and incredibly ungrateful. He paid for summer camp more than once from the sound of it. He bought her a car. He offered a huge amount for the wedding. The whole wedding was less than $15,000. So much entitled. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. No more gifts are going to be forthcoming from OP. Too bad. Too sad. Commenter. They're acting like OP is holding the money out like a carrot. I'd respond along the lines of, since you feel I'm using my money to manipulate you, I'll stop. No more money. Pay for everything yourself from here on out. Don't even give them a Christmas gift. Story 2. AITA for chewing out a drone guy? Yesterday, my husband and I were in our fenced backyard prepping to paint our house when a drone buzzed overhead. Fucking hate drones, but sometimes they fly by. Whatever. This one, however, stopped about 20 feet directly over our house and hovered for a minute or two before zipping off. I pointed it out and wondered who in our remote rural neighborhood had one, and why would they be taking pics of us? He thought it might be the underwriter for our new insurance company, so we went out the gate to see. There was a dude parked on the street, clearly operating it. DH called out to the guy, asking if he was insurance. The guy just turned his back to us, so I hollered, still a distance away, asking who he was. He finally answered that he was taking pics for a real estate listing. I informed him, not particularly kindly, that this was my house and it wasn't being listed. He then pointed at our neighbor's house. But that didn't explain why he was hovering over our house, and when I said so, he replied with incorrect and wrong. I demanded to see the footage because I quite literally watched him fly it over our house, but off-sea he wouldn't show it to us. It ended with him saying he didn't see what the problem was, and us pointing out the people don't like it when strange men fly drones over their fenced backyards where they had a reasonable expectation of privacy. In the moment, I was too heated to, well, think. And as we stomped back to our house, it became clear that he was over our house to get an aerial shot of the neighbor's house. So, why didn't he just say that, instead of calling me a liar and saying he never flew the drone over our house? That in itself is sketch to me. No threats were made, no cops were called, but we felt pretty justified in our pissed offness, especially his lying and gaslighting me about it. Our neighbor Otto texted and said we were lunatics for confronting the guy and that it was no big deal. I asked him how he'd feel if some strange man flew a drone over his house while his kids were outside. He refused to answer that and just kept implying we were out of line. So Reddit, were we? Relevant comments. Commenter, NTA at all. If he truly is a professional and had legitimate reasons to be flying hovering over your house, professional courtesy would dictate that he talk to you about it first, and assure you that he's not doing anything other than taking some photos for the real estate listing. He could even offer to show them to you afterwards. If I were you, I would ask the neighbors, or simply check on your local listing site, who the realtor is and contact their agency. I'm certain that any reputable firm wouldn't want to be represented in that manner. OP. He refused to tell us who he was, so I texted my neighbor to find out, explaining what happened, and he refused to say and told us the sale sign would go up soon and we could take it from there. That's when he called us cray-cray. Commenter, yeah, he was super unprofessional about it. I wonder if he's some new independent guy. If so, there's a professional licensing association you can reach out to. Keep us in the loop when you find out. Story 3. AITA for telling my mom I don't want her boyfriend at Christmas. I, 25F, recently moved into a townhouse with my 3-month-old baby. Her father is not involved in her life. It's our first home on our own. My mom came over to visit, and we started discussing our plans for Christmas, as usually we try to get her side and my dad's side of the family together. We talked about doing Christmas at my place this year since I will have a 6-month-old who will likely be mobile by that time, and it would be easier to have an already baby-proofed house. It was at this point she asked me if her boyfriend could come. I was hesitant because even though they have been together for about 3.5 years, she's told me before they have a casual relationship, they are not exclusive. In the past, he has made family gatherings awkward, especially when my dad is there. I also feel like when he's there, I don't get any time with my mom. Maybe I'm being selfish, but I want to spend time with her too. So I told her no, I don't want him to come, but she started getting upset and arguing with me, saying I don't understand their relationship. She also said I don't see him as a human since he doesn't celebrate Christmas with his family and would just be alone. And because of me, he would be alone on Christmas Day. I told her she could always come another day around, or come by herself at a different time, if she wanted to spend some time with him before or after coming to my place. But at the end, I just told her she would have to choose and decide who she wanted to be with for Christmas Day. After that, she said no one accepts her in her family, and no one understands her polyamorous relationship. I told her I don't mind her doing what she does. It's not my business. At the same time, I don't agree with it, and it does make things awkward at family events, especially when my dad and his family are around. But she thinks I'm trying to prevent her from seeing her granddaughter around the holidays, and I don't want her to feel that way. I do want to compromise with her, but I also want to have a comfortable family gathering, it being the first one I'll be hosting. Am I in the wrong here? Am I just being selfish and need to get over it and tell her he can come? Because this is my first time posting to Reddit, so bear with me. Relevant comments. Commenter, NTA. You're setting boundaries for your first Christmas as a new parent, which is important. It's understandable to want a comfortable environment without awkwardness. You offered alternatives for your mom to see her boyfriend, which shows you're willing to compromise. Your mom's feelings are valid, but it's not selfish to want quality time with her in your own home. Commenter, hell no, your house, your rules, and this is Christmas. If you have evidence of his being making situations have a negative environment such as awkwardness or tension, you have no obligation and plenty of reason to put your foot down and say no, because Christmas is a holiday about family and happiness and love and celebrating Christ, and there's no reason that needs to be ruined. That being said, if your mom disagrees and decides to fight with you about it and says that she's not going to go if he can't, you have to be prepared to stand your ground if she wants to remove herself from the light of your life. That is her choice, and it's going to suck. But again, you have no obligation to that man. And if your mom wants to act like that, she has things that she needs to work on too. Story 4, AIO. My husband ate all my food TDLR at the end. So I just had surgery on my stomach and intestines almost 2 weeks ago. Because of the surgery, I have to adhere to a very strict diet until I'm fully healed. If I stray from the diet, it could cause severe complications and possibly lead to death. So for the first 2 weeks after surgery, I can only drink a full liquid diet. The most solid thing I can eat is pudding. I can't even have soup with any chunks of veg meat in it, even if they're soft. There's not a lot of variety to choose from, and I'm not having a good time at all. Plus, I'm still having pain from the procedure and some nausea, and I've had to go in for IV fluids and iron twice now. Prior to surgery, I meal prepped for myself and for the family so I wouldn't have to worry about it after. I made meals for myself for every stage of the diet, and with specific macros ingredients to meet my needs and comply with my other health problems. For example, I have celiac disease, so everything has to be gluten-free. I also follow a low-sugar, low-carb diet, so everything had to comply with that as well. I also made meals for him and our son, meals specifically requested by him. I stocked up on snacks they liked and asked for. We also have a fairly strict budget right now, so I made everything from scratch to save some money. About 1/4 of everything I made is in the freezer attached to our fridge for convenience sake. The rest is in the deep freeze in the garage. So most of the meals in the house freezer are gone, so I went out to the garage to restock. All of the meals I'd made for myself are gone, just completely emptied out. I'm really upset because I have no energy right now to make more. Living off of liquids and having anemia will do that to a person. My diet is, hopefully, progressing to soft solids tomorrow, so I was really excited to be able to eat some of the food I'd made. I asked him about it, and he blamed it on our son first, which I know is BS because the kid hates all of my special food with a passion, LOL. There's no way he'd be sneaking my food. So I questioned my husband again. He admitted to it, said he'd been taking my meals to work as his lunch because he was too tired to make his own lunch before work. He has always made his own lunch up until now. He also said he was bored with the lunches he makes, and my food provided variety. I am exhausted. This recovery period is kicking my ass. Before surgery, I ran a mile every day. Now, I barely have enough energy to walk up the stairs. I'm not supposed to lift more than 10 pounds. I'm not supposed to do anything more strenuous than walking. Even taking a shower is tiring right now. The anemia, dehydration, and lack of proper nutrition is making it worse. So when he admitted to taking my food, I just started crying. He hasn't been much help after surgery. My son, 11 Yo, has been doing all the lifting for me and helping me with chores and cooking. When I started crying, he got disgusted and told me I was overreacting and being a baby. He refuses to make me new meals. He refuses to help me make new meals. He says it's been almost 2 weeks and I should be able to do stuff on my own. At this point, I'm seriously considering divorce. I mean, my son and I are already doing everything on our own already, and I know my kid won't eat my diet food. Am I overreacting? Also, I just found out he's raided my non-perishable food stores in the pantry. It was mostly sugar-free Jell-O and pudding, stuff I can eat on the liquid diet. Pretty much everything is gone, except for some sugar-free orange Jell-O. TDLR, I am on a special diet due health issues and recent surgery. I meal prepped meals for myself and for the family so I wouldn't have to deal with it while recovering from surgery. My husband ate all of my diet food without telling me and says I'm overreacting for being upset. Am I overreacting? Relevant comments. Commenter, you did not overreact. Actually, you didn't react nearly as strongly as I would have. I don't even have words for how awful that is. Knowing that you need this food for your health and survival, and he eats it for lunch? Honestly, he doesn't care about anyone but himself. I know that people on this sub are quick to be like, you should break up with them. But like, you should divorce him. He blamed your son to boot? I don't know, he just doesn't seem like a good person to me. Commenter, this is wildly malicious. There's a lot going on here. But let's think. You made liquid, gluten-free, sugar-free food, obviously for surgical recovery, and he took it for lunch? He suddenly got a massive craving for sugar-free puddings and soups. That is not what a fully functional, healthy person chooses to eat when given a choice. Do you really think he decided to eat liquid lunches for 2 weeks because he was too tired to make a sandwich? Do you really think he found them to be filling meals full of variety? If you are miserable on this diet, why would he subscribe to it voluntarily? He took the food to punish you for being sick. This is absolutely divorce territory. At best, it was incompetence. At worst, it was malicious. Either way, his response to your understandable, exhausting crying is all you need to know. He has no remorse, and he will not care for you. And when you can't care for him, he will punish you. You should leave for your own health and safety. Commenter, he's a narcissist, and he 200% did this on purpose. Divorce immediately. Force him to do 50/50 custody. He always made his lunches before. Then suddenly, when you're home from surgery. Suddenly, he found no other option. Not takeout. Not any other option than to steal his wife's special needed medical foods. Nope. That's level 200 evil on the narcissist scale. Then when you get upset and try to hold him accountable, he calls you a baby. Oh, hell no. Call his parents and tell them what he did. Call yours and get them to take you in. File for divorce. Thank you for sticking around until the end. If you liked our videos, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our latest content. Have a wonderful day.